Sounds great. All right. Today we have Michael with us again. Today he's going to talk to us about his 1968 Cadillac Sedan de Ville. Michael, welcome back to the podcast.
Hey, glad to be back.
Tell us about
Thanks to all the viewers who, liked and commented last time.
Good point. Tell us about the idea you had for this episode with your 68 Caddy.
Well, I think I'm in a love it or list it kind of frame of mind right now.
Right.
It's kind of difficult. I tell my wife it's called Cadillac anxiety. She doesn't really think that that's a thing, but it's a thing. And I guess the dilemma is I've had this car a long time. It's got some sentimental value to it, but I'm a more mature person now. And, and it needs some work, like all cars need work. Do I put money in it and make it the great car it could be? Or do I sell it and then take the money I would have spent and buy probably a better Cadillac? Because as we all know, you can usually buy a better one for what it costs to make yours.
That's
a better one.
That's probably accurate.
With cars like this. So that's really the position I'm in right now. So if we love it, we fix it up. If we list it, we have to find an auction site that might be suitable.
Oh, Michael has tried that with us before. What car did you sell with us before, Michael?
1992 teal Corvette was a similar love it or list it story. Decided to.
So we know what happened.
We didn't do a video, but we decided to list it because, for the 10 grand of work to make it the awesome Corvette it could be, just got pretty good price for it. Ended up buying something else, so that's easier to live with. So. And I don't miss the Corvette, actually. People ask me if I miss it. And often when I think of old cars I had and I think about missing it, I think of the bills that I would have had to pay if I kept it.
Oh, you're very practical. Not everyone.
And I think,
like that.
I didn't have to pay those bills, so got out at the right time.
Why don't we hear a bit about the history? I guess you know a little bit of history of this car before you bought it, but your history with the car too. And I suppose that will lead us to some of the emotions you feel in terms of whether you love it.
Okay, sure. I got this car when I was 28. My friend, so that was a while ago. That was in 1998. My friend had bought it in 1997. I got a picture of that, me standing next to it. It sat on a driveway in Mississauga for 9 years. And
Outdoors.
Uncovered. Yeah, and it had a deer's head on a plaque in the front seat.
On the front seat. I thought you were going to say on the...
No, it was just sitting on the front seat, and it was a lady's dad's, like is often the case. My friend bought it for $500. I think he paid for it in toonies and loonies, if I'm not... because it was one of those things he went back and he said, I'll buy it. I'll give you $500 on the spot. I'll get it out of here. I'll give you $500, but it's in toonies and loonies. I hope that's okay. And then she said, okay, but you also got to take the deer's head. And he did. So... He's my friend Glenn. He
probably got his money back just selling the deer's head.
I don't know what happened to it, but he's a car guy. Probably bought and sold 100 cars since then. Not really same as me, but he knew I liked Cadillacs, so he had it for about 8 months. Got it running.
But you accompanied him that day.
I did, yeah, just as a friend to go along on the purchase.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it, and it was a fixer upper. But he decided to buy it, got it running. Never did anything cosmetic on it. And sold it to me for, might have been in the neighborhood of a couple of grand or $2,500 back then, and it was running fine.
Of course, at that time, he'd faced some extra costs beyond the loonies and toonies.
Yeah, well, he worked at a shop, and he fixed it up on the off hours and all that. So anyway, that was his, that's how I got it. And when I got it...
Does it look the same today as when you got it?
Well, I mean, it's original. It was original paint, but it was sat in for 9 years and it was old, so needed to be redone. My friend had taken it down to the primer and thought he was going to paint it, but he never did. So he actually sold it to be just in primer. I drove it around like that for a little while as a daily driver. I'm not kidding.
A daily driver for a 68 around the year 2000 or so?
1998, yeah.
98?
For a year or two.
This is a 30-year-old car. I suppose it's the equivalent of a 1995 Cadillac driving around today. In a way, yes. In a way, no.
The interior looked fine then, but after using it for a couple of years, it started to crack. So after a couple of years, I decided, well, it's not really a practical car, but I want to keep it and I'll make it a hobby car. So decided to get a paint job and an interior job because it ran decently. And I was a younger guy in my 20s, newlywed, wasn't about to spend tens of thousands on a collector car. So I went to a car show and I asked other Cadillac people what they thought of their interior and their paint. And usually, as soon as I said anything, they would just start ranting about whoever did the work. But I did happen to catch a couple of guys. One person was happy with his body job, and he told me he'd gone to a place in Cambridge, Ontario.
Right.
So I went there, got it painted. I told the paint guy, I go, look, I'm not here to spend a ton of money. It's not, it's not a Rolls Royce, but I would like for the paint job to last a long time. It's not the best paint job around, but it has lasted 25 years.
At this time, had you kind of sworn it off as a daily driver?
Yeah. I knew that point. I wasn't going to drive it in winter anymore and everything. So I got about a $2,500 paint job back then, or maybe it was $2,000 plus $500 for this vinyl top that I got put on.
Right.
Wrong vinyl top, by the way. If you look closely, there's a little metal piece here. That's the Cadillac vinyl pattern.
Are you talking about at the seam that I'm focused in on the driver's side?
Yeah, this is metal.
Okay.
And that's
so the base here
what
is
it's supposed to
metal.
look like. But the body shop and guys I dealt with put on a standard, probably Chevy or Oldsmobile top. It's okay and it looks fine, but
GM correct, I suppose.
yeah, it's not genuine, but it's a nice job and it's lasted 25 years and there's nothing wrong with it.
It looks great.
So we did that. That was the...
Probably lived a pretty sheltered and plush life the past 25 years.
It has.
Yeah.
And we got a few other things. Same guy, Glenn, was out in an Arizona junkyard. He bought some more chrome pieces. Or he went to a junkyard and got new mirror, new door handles. These used to be pitted here. These are replacement Arizona door handles.
So off another car, were they?
Yep.
Hard to sit from
And
another
these,
car.
we got new fender skirts from an Arizona car because those two were rotted.
That's often where you see rust first. Which makes sense, I suppose. That's where the slush is moving around.
Come to think of it, this here is off of a junkyard car as well.
The entire bumper?
No, it's a separate pod.
Oh,
One of these was rotted. I forget which one, and this is original. The one thing I don't like, I'll get my shadow out of the way here. I've always hated this. I never got a new grill, but it's like almost like just a mar on the very front prominent part of the car. I'm thinking if I'm gonna love it, I'm gonna have to get that dealt with. And I don't know if that means getting a new grill or getting a really awesome.
I don't know the answer either.
If there's a really awesome body person, it's metal. It's not plastic. I mean, I'm sure somebody can make this look awesome again.
I mean, this is not news to you. You've owned this car a solid 27 years.
If you put up the picture of me standing next to this when my friend bought it in 1997,
Yeah.
I see that same mark
do,
right
yeah.
there. Looks like probably somebody backed into it while I was.
But I'm going to tell you something you probably already know, but it's so hard to find people who want to do this work today. Most of the body and paint shops are production shops doing insurance jobs, want to get them in and out as quickly as they can. However, if there are people looking for such type of restoration work, I know I can steer them in a couple of right directions.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing about the body, now it's starting to have stone chips and the like. I mean, I had this, my family grew up, being told they can't touch this car and be careful, but it's still got a couple of scratches from bikes and stuff being in the garage. There's a bad one here. No dents, but I'm thinking I'm going to try a touch-up person.
When Michael mentioned there's a bad one here, the storm.
I don't want to get a
I wouldn't
real...
say bad.
And there's a little bit... I think a good touch-up detailer person can...
I think the one you called a bad one could be touched up and made to look pretty.
And what else? Yeah, I got them on the other side. So I think that's what it needs body-wise. It's not a show-winning paint job, but it's good enough just to drive around.
Okay, what we've kind of done a...
So that's exterior. Let's talk interior.
Well, I was going to say we've kind of done a subconscious walk around. I think we've covered the walk around of the exterior of the car. Why don't we talk about the inside? The interior is quite presentable. I don't think it could all possibly be original.
No. So this is a restored interior. So as I had mentioned, the interior cracked. And then at that car show, a guy told me that he really liked his interior job. I thought I was going to have to buy something completely new. But I looked in Hemmings Motor News at the time, and there was a place called SMS Auto Fabrics. we have all Cadillac interiors, all colors, all styles.
That's got to be a lot of permutations and
I
combinations.
didn't believe them, but when I called up
1968.
the guy, he said to look under the hood, tell me what the trim code was. And then he says, I got a roll of the cloth, I got a roll of the vinyl. Only costed, I don't know, $500, if that, back then. And I took it to a marine upholstery guy called the Stitcher in Perry Sound.
And that was someone you were referred to by someone at the car shop.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly. I called him up and I had to take the car all the way to Perry Sound. But so this cloth is new.
The seat backs,
This is new.
seat bottom.
And this used to be leather in the middle, but we put vinyl there. But I think he left me some leather, just if this doesn't open very easily, but this kind of side bit of the armrest is the original leather. 'Cause
Just the stitching on the strap of the armrest kind of looks 1968.
I feel like this is vinyl and
There's
that's
a
leather.
slight difference in the shade too. So I think what you say is plausible.
I think that's what happened. But he also gave me the vinyl. So this insert here is new cloth.
Right.
This handle, of course, is the old vinyl, and it's
So that cloth in the insert, is it the same as on the seat covers? Yeah.
came from the same roll.
Yeah.
But my proof that this is original is if you can look back here. So this was not ruined from the sun damage. So this
that's
is
probably
original.
original, is it?
It's original. You can see the buttons are slightly different,
Sure.
but that's original. That's new. That's new.
Pattern on the fabric matches, doesn't
Yep, and that's new. But he did keep some of the door. I think this upper door panel is old, and he put new vinyl on top of this. So it doesn't look quite like factory, but
Was it a job that the fella who works on boats liked doing? Did he talk about that?
I think he liked doing it.
Yeah.
Paid me it was like about a couple grand back then. He also kind of redid this back shelf, which I don't think is quite factory original. But I'll grab the key. No trunk button in here. I'll show you what he did for me in the trunk.
It really is. It really is sharp. And this. How long did he have the car while he worked on the interior up in Perry Sound?
It was a matter of months.
Probably over the winter.
I took the bus. To go and get it back from him.
I do that kind of stuff all the time to pick up cars.
So then this is original paint on the inside of the trunk. We left it that way just so we could know what the original color was.
Sure.
And prove that we kept it.
And there's the jacking instructions, or what's left of them. That looks pretty original.
And then the jack is in there.
Yeah, I noticed that old jack.
But this is not a factory Cadillac trunk. Because he was a marine guy, he used this like boat carpet. Like it's
Right.
You can get it wet. I think I've gotten lucky a couple of times by it getting wet and being no issue.
Every time you say marine, I'm thinking of the U.S. military.
No,
Boats,
he
we're
told me
talking.
He was a marine upholstery specialist guy, but
Full size spare, it looks like.
now, as you can see, this is not a full body off restoration. So look back, like
No.
in here is it never got painted, and
Yeah.
some of these rubber pieces. All my weather stripping is original.
Really? Wow, that's really something. Because that's what cracks.
Well, I know, but it's not good though. I can't leave this out in the rain.
But that's what I was gonna say. How, like you were pointing out, it's not a body off or frame off restoration.
It's far from.
I jokingly say in that situation, like the car's what 57 years old. If it looks twice as bad in another 57 years, that's tolerable, and it's gonna live a charmed life the rest of the way.
Like this. So it's kind of one of these. Hey, it's a Cadillac sedan. It's not going to ever be bringing in big money at Barrett Jackson or Collector Car Canada, for that matter.
What's
But
Barrett Jackson?
some small timers, I think. But they're.
I like the look of that
it's
license
something
plate.
making a perfect car.
There's something behind that license plate, is there?
Oh yes.
That's not what I meant. The story behind it, but looky
Oh.
here. Show it.
019 FSH.
Well, so long as you had it open.
Oh, that is
You get all the attention at the fill-in station.
Yep. I got this is my original license plate for my first car when I got when I was
In our other episode, you mentioned it was a 80 LeSabre coupe.
Park Avenue.
Oh, pardon me.
Yes.
Pardon me. Park Avenue is a step up from a LeSabre, of course.
So we can look under this is where so you might be watching this video and saying, "Come on, man, love it, don't list it." But it doesn't need much because it drives, but it does need a lot.
Should we take a look under the hood, Michael, too?
The
I'd like to see that cowl tag the guy had you fish out.
It probably needs most mechanical things addressed. This is an original 57-year-old 472, never rebuilt.
It's never rebuilt.
Nope. And my transmission, the automatic 400, is also it was rebuilt, but only because I had a leak, and the guy said for the same price almost I can rebuild it.
I remember 378 sending out, or 375 rather for horsepower, but I think that's the 429 that preceded
Nope,
this.
it's 375.
This is 375
and
horsepower?
525.
525 on the torque, yeah.
But of course, that's the old measurement way
Gross.
from back then.
Not at the wheel.
And so,
Master.
so what I need here, I got, for quick short list to make this a really even drivable car. I got a manifold exhaust leak.
Sounds great though.
Well, yeah, but takes away a bit of the power. My
That's
belts
true.
are probably older than 25 years. I got to get all the belts done. It doesn't leak too badly, but it leaks. And so there's also, I've never had working air conditioning. Somebody, when I use this as a daily driver, some kind person just tore this right off.
Oh, I noticed that. I figured
And
the power antenna was down.
Never bothered replacing it, though the radio at the time, I could get a couple of stations, but it was a little bit hard to dial.
Mean
And
streets.
nobody wants to restore those. I don't know if you've got people or
Mean
if somebody
streets
can
of downtown Toronto.
suggest in the comments who fixes old radios.
That'd be great if anyone had a suggestion for Michael. Just drop it in the
I have
comments,
found
please.
people will install one of those retro ones, and
Right.
that's all right.
People seem to like those. I love original, of course, but if you want decent sound, those retros are a great option.
So I've had it pretty much 25 years with no radio.
Oh, there's nothing to
No
listen to
AC.
now, is there?
No, you can just listen to the engine. That's all you do.
Well, it's worth listening to. You probably put your Sony Walkman and play some cassettes occasionally.
And all the weather stripping. I mean, the probably should be replaced. It's all original. If you leave it out in the rain, it's going to get wet on the new fabric, which has happened a couple of times.
Oh, here we go. Here it is.
The wiper motor feels pretty weak. Like it's probably original. Starter motor could be original. It worked great, but it starts the car. It's part
There's
of
that
Cadillac
cowl tag.
anxiety. You just sit down and you wonder, is it going to start?
The ironic thing is people with brand new electric Cadillacs have Cadillac anxiety. Anxiety of a different kind, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe.
So we're seeing what I see. It looks really good, but the premise of what we're talking about is the love it or list it. I suppose we've heard a lot of love it, and what's pushing you towards the list it?
Okay, well, I have a different kind of list. I've got a list of things and estimates. I added it all up, and I thought, of course, in my mind, I added it up, and I thought about 10 grand.
In $1968 or
No,
current?
in current dollars, about 10 grand would make it the car it should be. And then I don't really want to spend 10 grand. I think I'm going to spend more like 3 or 4. Just get some of these issues dealt with, like the exhaust and the belts, and make sure it's running decently. Maybe
But it's
deal
certainly
with some of the cosmetic things that you think look fine but that annoy me.
right.
And then I'm just going to wait and see. I'll just say, am I still loving it, or would I really rather get a new? I mean, at that time, I wanted to get a 90s Cadillac, like a 90 to 92, the last of the.
Oh yes,
Square
the
ones.
Fleetwood Bromes.
I've always loved those.
I love them too. Especially, I like 90 so much better than 89.
I know. If this got stolen, and I got my insurance money, that's probably what I would buy. And I don't know. Would life be better? They probably would have air conditioning, and I think
Well, if you
for
really
what I could do
wanted
with
to,
for this, plus the fact of not doing any more spending on it, I could probably buy a nicer Cadillac.
you probably won't get a perfect 90 though. That's one thing we often
Yeah,
discount.
True, but I could add money in it because this will just kind of keep costing. I suppose
Yeah.
the other one would as well.
Yeah.
The question is, would I enjoy it more? Would I use it more? I don't know what your viewers' experience is, but I don't have a whole lot of people in my life who just want to go for a cruise in the Cadillac.
It is a novel idea, isn't it idealistic?
It's kind of like, your family members have kind of been there, done that. And I don't really go to a lot of car shows. I know a lot of your viewers do. I don't really do the the lawn share car show thing. Maybe in a few
I go
years.
to a lot of car shows. I'm not known to sit down. I walk around and check
I
out all the
prefer a car
cars.
that I actually use and do something with. And at the moment, even if I was gonna, for fun, if I was gonna drive somebody to the airport or something, and hey, let's take the Caddy. Well, then I'm gonna need to get AC.
You probably do that 18 times a year, right?
Well,
I see there's some Pennsylvania history in this car. Do you know anything about it?
lady we bought it from said that her dad lived in Pennsylvania for a time. And
Ah.
I've always that it was torn like that when we got the car, but I thought it was kind of cool, so
Oh, I would leave it,
I
sure.
left it on all the time.
And do you figure this was originally sold at a Canadian dealer or American, or do you know?
It's U.S. U.S. import. Not that I have a
U.S. market car.
Carfax or whatever
Uh-huh.
you would probably get today, but that was what I was told back then.
Sure.
So that's the big question. Does we'll put it out to your audience. Do we love it?
I'd love
Put
to
in
hear
the
from...
put into 5 to 10 grand that it probably really needs to be an awesome Cadillac, or do we not spend that? List it on collector car auctions.
Collector Car Canada, I think you mean.
Collector Car Canada auctions, and
Well, now...
see what that adds up to, minus the potential repairs, and justify getting a better one.
Let's be mindful that some of our viewers might be showing a personal bias in their comments. Maybe they want the car and they want you to list it. Did you ever consider
That's
that?
business. I mean, I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
I can say I have a lot of history and sentimental value to it because it was mine, not because it wasn't my grandfather's car, but it was mine for a long time.
You've had a long time, yeah.
But hey, most things in life are for sale.
I suppose that's true. I suppose that's true. Okay, well, I think we have gone through a good bit of detail on this 1968 Cadillac Sedan de Ville. Do we call this a 4-window, Michael? Or is it a 6-window, or neither?
It is called a pillared hardtop.
It's a pillared hardtop, okay.
It's fascinating the number of variations that they would make back then compared to modern cars, but for this model year, not only did they change every year,
Yeah.
the front and back and
Yeah.
everything, but you can get a 4-door hardtop sedan. That means it has no pillar.
Right. I'm a former owner of a 65, yes.
Or you can get a pillared hardtop. These are more rare. I've seen the production figures,
Uh-huh.
but I think people think that a hardtop.
People generally like the hardtop. When I said the 4 and 6 window, after I said it, I realized I'm talking about pre-65, the generation before 65, because 65 be the first year of this front end, and that 65 had a 429 engine, which started in 64 on the previous body style. When did that 472 make its first appearance?
This is
67?
68. So
68,
is
eh?
First year of 472, but also last year of stacked headlights.
I know that part, yeah.
And the
69
grille
and 70.
is different. I mean, the 67 has a different grille.
Right.
It's amazing the resources that put into it last. But it's,
Well, there were only 3 companies back then. They didn't have to worry about competition. So, well, as I say, Michael, I think you've given us a really good summary. I suppose you've got a little bit of thinking to do on what you're going to decide. And
I've already put in calls, and first place that I have done repairs, I just want to get a couple of basic things, and I kind of
Sure.
said, hey, I've got a bit of a list. Can I come by? Trying to be a good customer and not just do a cheap job.
right.
I'm ready to invest a little.
You got to be sensitive to mechanics.
Right off the bat, even though it's a collector car kind of place, right off the bat, he's like, oh, he didn't even tell me to book it in a month or two. He said, why don't you call me in a month and then we can talk about booking it. So, that's a checkbox a check on the listed side, because I want to enjoy a car and I don't really enjoy chasing down.
The time to get that work done is the winter, and sometimes it's difficult to get done in the winter.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if I've had it long enough. It doesn't matter if it takes a year, but I don't want to have to beg people to work on my car.
Right.
If I could sell it and buy something that didn't need as much work, then I'm ahead, right?
I come into that situation a little bit with my old collection myself.
I'm sure we're not the only ones.
No.
We got a lot of viewers here.
But yeah, I think, as I say, I think you've given us a good summary. I'll keep in touch with you over the next weeks and months. And I'm keen to hear what you're thinking. I'm not going to give you the hard sell to list with us. Of course, I'd love to have the car. But regardless of that, maybe we're setting things up. If things work out with this episode, maybe we could come back and hear about what you're thinking in terms of a decision.
Yeah, and it's the first one, so maybe you get more people want to do a Love It or Listed episode with you.
That's a great
Could be
idea.
an all new
too.
thing.
That's a great idea too.
I'm trying to get my shadow out of the way.
I was going to have you stand in front of the car, Michael. Yeah. So we'll end off with that, and we just want to thank Michael. He's given us a couple of episodes. We had a little bit of a look at his 2024 VW Golf GTI. So he's got eclectic taste, it's fair to say. Thank you, Michael, for joining us. And to those watching, any parting words of wisdom, Michael?
I don't know about words of wisdom, but I'm a market researcher, so I want to hear what people think. So put it in the comments and let us know if we should be loving it or listing it here.
I love the sounds of that. Of course, we always love when people comment and participate. But you and I will keep in touch. I'm curious to know what you decide to do. I love the car. I love the idea of you putting a couple of bucks into it and keeping it for life. But sometimes there are practical decisions to be made, and I understand that. So to our audience, thank you for watching, and we're going to move on to the next car.